Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. As you notice, things are a little different now. We are in person. Daniel on my right side, and we are joined by a very special guest, Mr. Brody Chouinard. And the setup is really weird. We're going to be passing around a mic for however long we do this, so bear with us here. But just to give you a nice little rundown of the episode today, we're going to be talking about the second round that happened. It's been a little while since we've done a show, so we're going to recap stuff that happened there. Then transitioning into some Phoenix Suns slander that's been going on for the past couple of days, so we're going to chime in on that. The Western Conference Finals and what we think up to this point, who we think is the favorites going to the finals. And then we're going to be going into the Lakers coaching search and the finalists there and who we think is going to get the job. And then we're going to be talking about some Golden State Warriors stuff and looking forward to the finals, who we have as the matchup and who our favorite is. But yeah, that's the show for today. We're going to be going into the second round stuff. We'll start off with the Philadelphia 76ers, obviously getting eliminated by the Miami Heat in 6. A lot of James Harden slander getting thrown around out there. James Harden has a big offseason, obviously, with an extension coming up, assuming he's going to decline his option and ask for a max contract. And the question that's been going around is he deserving of the supermax contract? And I'll hand it over to Daniel to give his thoughts about it.
Well, with James Harden, my opinion is as the same as a lot of people. I don't think he deserves that max contract because, as we all know, everyone gave him some slander on, the timeline, and things like that about, him not taking enough shots in an elimination game. And in my opinion, as a superstar of that caliber, that is simply unacceptable. He was saying in his post-game interviews, "Oh, we just didn't get the ball to me," or the offense just didn't, give me enough opportunities. But I feel like if you're a star like that, you need to be able to kind of, demand the ball in a way, especially in a game like that when you guys, it's a must-win. Your season's on the line, and I just feel like if any star or any superstar, I feel like they're trying to do their all in elimination games, and James Harden just doesn't give me that vibe. He's kind of fallen off, I'd say, these past couple years. We've already talked about it a little bit in previous episodes, but he's not that guy who's going to score 35 points a game anymore. He's a little bigger. He's a little, doesn't look too, motivated. But the one person I will give credit for on the Sixers is Embiid. He definitely played really well, especially with being injured, and that's what superstars are. Pushing their injuries and giving it their all. And it just sucks that we see Harden not really keeping that same type of energy and that same type of vibe. So he's probably gonna get a max because it's Harden, but it just seems like such a waste of money in my opinion. It's just doesn't look worth it. But winning the Sixers probably end up doing it. Now I'll hand it over to our beautiful special guest for the first time.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys letting me on the show. It's an honor. I'm ecstatic to be here. Going off of the Harden thing, I mean, this dude's like a party animal now, guys. Like, he's going to clubs. This guy, he's not motivated anymore, and it's disappointing to see a player of Harden's level just go from prime Harden on the Rockets to going to Philly and his tenure with the Nets, which doesn't even count to me. I mean, what, overweight, just walking in. I mean, you've seen the memes, you've seen the pictures. I mean, Harden, goodness, man, goes to the Sixers, just has 2 great games, kind of comes out and just falls flat. And guy's averaging 22, whatever. I mean, he probably could still give you 28-8, 27-7. Is it worth the supermax? No. Is it worth the max? Probably not. But that's why we have the Knicks. Why we have the Pistons in the league. That's why we have all these other teams. Going into just Philly in general, I mean, you have so many issues with that franchise. I mean, you got Doc. We all love Doc Rivers, potential Lakers candidate, by the way. Get into that later. No, not a big fan of Doc. That's okay. Embiid was hurt. Played his butt off. Loved the guy. Great player. MVP candidate. Did his thing. But wanted to shine light on Maxey, Tobias Harris, both. Great series. Just, not enough to beat good old Jimmy Buckets and the Miami Heat. Love the Heat, by the way. And again, that later. But when it comes to Harden, just guy's got to get in shape if he wants to if he's even motivated anymore. Will he get a Supermax? Will he get a max? Yeah. Does he deserve it? No. Unfortunate how the league works. I mean, but it is what it is. Hand it back to Matt.
Alrighty, so now we're going to be transitioning into the good old Dallas Mavericks and Phoenix Suns series. Obviously, you live under a rock. The Phoenix Suns were generally upset by the Dallas Mavericks in 6 games. Mr. Luka Doncic absolutely destroying in Phoenix, absolutely dismantling the Suns, winning by 30. And not many people expected that. I certainly didn't. I expected a very close game. Or not, I said game 6, sorry. Game 7. Obviously, Luka just dismantled the whole Suns team. And that opened a can of worms for a bunch of Phoenix Suns slander. Shout out to our good friend Lee Badol, who's a Phoenix Suns fan. We gave him a lot of slander for the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, before the series, he was talking a lot of trash, thinking it was going to be a very easy series for the Suns, and it obviously didn't pan out that way. So shout out Luka for doing what he did. Going into the Suns a little bit more, mainly focus on Chris Paul. Obviously, he's not getting any younger. He has the history of not showing up in big games. And obviously, he didn't really show up in Game 7 against the Mavs, which was very surprising. Him and Devin Booker, obviously Ayton, didn't really play that much, which was surprising as well. But focusing on Chris Paul, I believe he is now 0-5 in closeout games or something like that, which is obviously pretty disappointing for a guy who is aspiring to get a ring. But the contract that he got in the offseason is not going to look any better. I believe he's going to be making like 30-something million over the next couple of years or so. But still partially guaranteed towards the back end of the deal, which I assume is good. But obviously, if you're paying 36 now, it's going to look a bit ugly. Personally, for me, I do not think the Suns have much time left. We'll talk about Aiden after we all get our thoughts on Chris Paul, but I was telling my friend Lee that I think the Suns have maybe next year and the year after that for their championship window, because obviously you can tell by the West was a little weaker this year, but going into next year we're going to have a lot more healthy teams like the Nuggets and Clippers, hopefully the Lakers, but
Hopefully.
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Chris Paul's obviously shown his true colors as he has the past couple of years. The Suns are concerning. We'll talk about Aiden in a bit, but Suns are very disappointing coming off a last year finals loss after going up 2-0 on the Bucks. They were looking for revenge this year. I had them in the Western Conference Finals, but losing to the Warriors. Obviously, they didn't make it that far, but yeah, very disappointing season for the Suns, who expired to get a trophy this year.
Yeah, so this was one of the more fun series, I'd say, in the second round, and man, I love me some Luka, don't we? Gets bullied a little bit by silly little Devin Booker. Then look who shows up in Game 7. this is beautiful just to see this Devin Booker slander as well with Chris Paul. I just we hate players that are cocky, and then when the time they really need to show up, they don't. Um, it's just I just want to know the emotions that Luka was feeling, just to absolutely dismantle the Suns. I don't
Um,
think I don't think a single soul on this earth thought the Mavs would destroy them like that. And it really does suck for Chris Paul though. I do like Chris Paul. I think he's a really good player, but he does have that history of choking and not showing up in big games. I think he's had multiple series 2-0 leads, and I don't think he's won a single one of them, which is insane to me.
Yep.
It just sucks for him. He's a really good player, but somehow 15 years in his career still gets nervous. But it's going to be very interesting for the Suns. We mentioned that we'll talk about Ayton soon, but there's definitely things being said about Ayton and where they're going to go in the future. I don't even know how. I think this team has maybe a year left. I don't know how long Chris Paul wants to keep playing, but I just don't really see the upgrades that this team can make unless they do some blockbuster trade. But I don't even know who they'd go after. I don't know what they do from here. I think you just kind of have to run it back and hope pan out a little bit differently. But all hail Luka. That's all you can really say about that series.
Oh man, I have been waiting to talk about the Suns. Cancun on me, Cancun on 3, baby. Wow. I think the Suns' window's closed after this year. I think Chris Paul, as great of a point guard he has been in his career, I think this was it, unfortunately. I mean, as you said, hell, Luka. I mean, this guy, man, Luka and Brunson and Spencer Dinwiddie, key player in that Game 7. Love that guy. I mean, he came out and did his thing. Kleba, I mean, those boys in Dallas. Love those guys, man. Unfortunate where we're at. We'll get to that later. We're right now with the Warriors, but that's okay. You guys did your job. You beat the Suns. Kendall Jenner, shout out to you. I appreciate you, Devin Booker. Cocky, it is what it is. But Kendall Jenner, I'm happy you did your thing. Chris Paul, way to choke again. 2-0 lead again, just like the Bucks last year, man. I don't know what you're doing, but good job. Ayton, you are soft. I know they want to get into him later, but oh my goodness, you are soft. They should have played JaVale that whole series, in my opinion, but I'm not the coach. I love you, Monty, by the way. Great coach. Deserved coach of the year. You and the guy from Memphis, Taylor Jenkins. But, man, it feels good to see that Phoenix got humbled. Bridges is a great player. Jay Crowder. Oh my goodness.
I forgot about
Jay Crowder. Wow. I can't say what I really want to about Crowder. It's just you needed to be humbled too. And I am so happy that we could watch Jay Crowder as a Laker fan. Maybe there's some personal dislike towards Jay Crowder from Miami and Phoenix, but man, Jay Crowder, I'm happy to see that guy out. But as a whole, Chris Paul, I think his window's closed. I just think, as you said, he's 36, 37. Not much time left. Your body only gets old, older, and it's got to try to play 82 games again into the playoffs. Don't see it happening, and kind of just proves the whole Booker Luka debate a little bit. I know people said Booker's in that superstar tier, and can Booker carry a team without Chris Paul? Hell no. And Luka can. And, here we are where we're at with Luka again. And unfortunate events are occurring right now, but we'll get to that. But, yeah, that's kind of my take on the Suns. Chris Paul, have fun in Cancun. And, yeah, go flop in the freaking ocean, man.
Into DeAndre Ayton. Obviously, he has a big offseason as well. Prior to the Luka special, I had DeAndre Ayton deserving of the max. I did not see a reason behind the Phoenix Suns and not extending him at that deadline somewhere in the season. I forgot when it was. I remember we talked about it, and I believe Daniel and I were both on the same page in terms of extending Aiden, giving him the max solely based off the reason of a guy like Michael Porter Jr., who got a max, and that was kind of just my reason in giving Aiden that max extension. But now things have kind of changed for me. Personally, I still think a team's gonna take a chance on him. He's definitely gonna get the max somewhere. But personally, I'm of the notion that there's a very high possibility that he's not gonna be a Phoenix Sun. Obviously, there was a lot going on after Game 7 against the Mavs. Him and Monty got into it a little bit. Monty Williams said that his argument with Aiden was internal and that he didn't want to get into it. But obviously, a guy that's up for big contract playing 17 minutes in a Game 7 is obviously not a great look. But if I were to put my finger on it, I feel like Portland will probably be a place that will try to make a heavy push for him. I feel like that probably just makes the most sense. Obviously, Nurkic being a free agent, that kind of gives Portland more options heading into free agency. But yeah, it's a very interesting situation that the Suns are heading into. I depending on, I can't really see them matching because I just feel like with the look of Game 7, I feel like things might have been tarnished and it might be hard to resave. But I feel like if the Suns aren't offering, somebody else will definitely give a shot, either Portland or San Antonio. But I feel like Portland would probably be the best fit for me personally. I feel like him and Damian Lillard, once healthy, will probably be a good duo. Don't know if that's a playoff team, but that's something to see moving forward. But yeah, that's kind of just my take on Aiden. I still think he deserves it. He's still a young player. He still has a lot to prove going forward. But yeah, it'll be interesting for the Suns move.
DeAndre. My favorite teddy bear in the league. He is just my favorite softie. Just doesn't know how, it just looks like out there he just really is not the center that most teams need. My biggest problem with him, I've already said this on a earlier show, but he just doesn't look like he's that center that can really take over a game like some other centers in the league. And that's just why I don't think he's superstar level. Realistically, for a first overall pick, I mean, there could be arguments made that he's been a little disappointing. And I think coming into the summer, I don't know. He's definitely not going to get the max Phoenix, I feel like. But I think if he wants to stay, that they'll obviously offer him something, what they think he's worth. But I just don't know where he goes. Like Matt said, there definitely will be a team that says, "Hey, we'll give you, the super max." But what market will it be? Will he have to go to a bottom feeder or someone in the middle of the pack? I don't know, but it's just I have seen some takes of people kind of calling him a bust for first overall pick. Obviously, being a first overall pick, you have these expectations to me and all these, what fans want you to do. He hasn't kind of lived up to it. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's still, young. He still has a lot to learn. He could still definitely get better, but from his tenure at the Suns, I just don't think he's lived up to it. Obviously, even if they were to redo that draft, maybe the Suns still take him. I think it'd just be obviously criminal not to take Luka, but it's just very interesting with this kind of situation. I mean, Brody even mentioned this probably might have been the last year for the Suns championship window, and if they don't get Ayton back, I mean, that definitely could be, a real possibility because, I mean, we don't know what he values more. Obviously, money is definitely a big factor in the NBA, but the Suns don't offer him a supermax. We definitely could see the Suns looking a lot different next year. Um, but I mean, I just think for him to not be labeled as a bust by some people and live up to his hype, he just needs to figure out a way to get more aggressive and be able to take over games because, I mean, he just looks like one of the softest centers out there, and that's just his big weakness in my opinion. Definitely sucks to see, but hype high helps for him.
I briefly touched on my opinions at Ayton, and I agree with Daniel. Dude is just not physical. He doesn't go in there into the game with a plan to dominate in the paint. And I mean, this is a guy that averaged 18 and 12 or 19 and 11, something like that, prior to the Chris Paul era in Phoenix. So this is a guy that has potential. He could play. It's just a matter of fact of, does he want to be aggressive? Does he want to be a dominant force, a dominant center in this league? And he has the potential to. I mean, again, your number one pick. You had a great college career. It's unfortunate that you just happened to be a Trae Young draft class. I mean, of course you're going to get those comparisons, but will he get a lot of money this offseason? Yes. Do I think it'll be from Phoenix? Yes, just because if they don't re-sign him, I mean, there's not really much they can do with Chris Paul and the Booker contracts, and got a bunch of role players that are gonna be extensions soon as well. So they don't get Ayton. I don't think you could run for a whole year with Bismack Biyombo and JaVale McGee, much as I love JaVale. So again, Ayton is super soft, just not necessarily a disappointment yet. I mean, this series, of course, I mean, game 7, as you said, 17 minutes, can't happen. Whether it be argument with Monty or whatever, just he did not play well. Did not look like he even wanted to play that game. But at the end of the day, I do think he's going to get a big contract. I do think it'll be with Phoenix. And I hope he of all people on that team, I hope he can come out and prove himself. But he's gotta look in the mirror. That's what I would say.
All right, and now transitioning into the Western Conference Finals, as we kind of alluded to before, we're praising the Mavericks, and things aren't going so hot for them. At the time of this recording, they just lost Game 3, which in my eyes was a game that they really needed to win if they had a chance in this series. Before the series even started, I had the Warriors in 5. I just think it would not have been close if the Mavs were to get to the Western Conference Finals, and they did. Not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping for Warriors Phoenix to provide more of a entertaining Western Conference Finals, but I'll take the Suns getting an early exit anytime of the week. But it's just the Mavs have just not looked good. Obviously, they cannot buy any stops, which is fair against the Golden State Warriors, which have looked really good this postseason. Obviously, Jordan Poole has looked really good as well. Can't forget about Kevon Looney heading for the Western Conference MVP trophy. Coming off that huge 21-point game, I believe in Game 2 it was. And the Mavs are a very streaky team. I was saying this last night that they're kind of like the Houston Rockets with James Harden, where they just live and die by the 3. And if they're making threes, they're hard to beat. And if they're not, they're very easy to beat because obviously their defense is good, but against the Warriors, they're not going to stack up very well with all their offensive threats. And I think this will probably be a sweep. I just don't feel like the Mavericks just have enough juice, I guess, to get a win against the Warriors. was kind of hoping it went to 6. I feel like the Mavs could have definitely pulled 2 out in Dallas, but it's just hard to win in San Francisco. Obviously, all the bandwagon fans in the stands, it's kind of hard to win there. But yeah, pretty disappointing. But the Mavs obviously did what they set out to do. Everyone wanted the Suns out, or at least non-Suns fans. But I view the Mavs season overall as a success. I'm kind of just writing them off right now. But going back, when we did our trade deadline reaction thing, I called the Dinwiddie Kristaps trade the worst trade of the deadline. Looking back at it, there was instances where I thought I was looking good, and then you have nights where he's dropping 30 in Game 7 against Phoenix where it looks really bad. But yeah, I'll kind of take back. I feel like they have something going with Dinwiddie, Brunson, and Luka. Be interesting to see what Jalen Brunson does this offseason. Obviously, has the eyes of everybody in the NBA. He's definitely going to get a big payday. Be interesting to see if it'll be the Mavs or he'll go somewhere else. But yeah, the Mavs overall, very good season. But from the looks of it now, I had the Warriors go into the finals, but losing to the Bucks. But obviously, the Bucks are not there anymore. So I feel like the Warriors have a really good shot at winning the ring this year, which is kind of unfortunate because for me, I am kind of not the biggest Warriors fan out there. I kind of despise the whole Warriors Cavs, where it felt like that finals matchup was just destined every single year. But yeah, it's kind of my thoughts. The Mavs, I feel like, can maybe get one, but in my eyes, it'll probably be a sweep, and the Warriors will go to the finals. But yeah, the Mavs have a lot going into the offseason. Obviously, with Jalen Brunson, it'll be interesting to see what goes on there. But I feel like if they don't keep him, they still have Dinwiddie there for 2 years, I believe, after this one. So yeah, that's kind of just my take on the finals.
Yeah, I mean, Luka is, absolutely insane, dropping back to back 40-point games. I mean, this guy, after really doing good against the Suns, and now just to come into this series and still, play really good. Like Matt said, it's just kind of like that Rockets team, live or die by the 3. You'd like to see some players step up, Reggie Bullock. I mean, and who's the other player who scored 0?
Cleveland,
yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, it's just you got to get Luka some help. I know, Dinwiddie and Brunson have been playing good all throughout the playoffs and in the regular season, but I mean, I feel like you just need that star, especially maybe down low. I've said that this team's weakness really is the center or power forward position. I mean, Luka is doing everything he can out there. I mean, this guy is just shooting like basically half court shots and making them. I mean, it's just insane everything that he's doing. I mean, I hope this series would be a little closer, but I mean, it's kind of hard when you're going against a fully healthy Warriors team. Curry, Clay, Poole just doing their thing. I mean, it's just this team is really scary on the offensive end. At least they've been close games, to a point. So I mean, it hasn't been like a full blowout of a series, and the Mavs have kept it competitive the past 2. So like Matt said, I mean, this is still a win for the Mavericks. No one saw them getting this far. I definitely know a lot of people had them wrote them off Phoenix series. Maybe some people, I don't know who, but some people may have thought they could have lost to the Jazz. But I mean, this is just a win overall for the Mavericks, and I can't wait to see where they go from here. Who they pair up with Luka. I mean, right now, hopefully they can take a game because it would suck to see this team get swept. But I mean, it's just all hell Luka, dude. This guy is just insane. Like, once again, I can't give him enough praise because he's doing everything out there. There were even some people in the first series saying like, why Mavericks put him in? Like he ruined the chemistry in that first Jazz series when Brunson was popping off. If people even had that thought or take, but yeah, we'll have to see what this offseason holds for the Mavericks. Can't wait to see that trio back. I just really want to see what they do to, kind of help that center position because right now it's looking kind of rough. But yeah, well, hopefully they can win Game 4, please.
All right, so I mean, you guys touched up on Dallas pretty well. I just want to throw in there again. They had a great year. I think Brunson will resign. They're kind of in a cap bind a little bit, but I think an underrated player to come back next year is going to be Hardaway Jr. See how he plays with them. Reggie Bullock. I don't want to talk. Like, just you can't do that. 0 for 10, man. Oh my goodness. But whatever. Controversial take, but get into the Warriors a little bit. As a Laker fan, I know a lot of people not big fans of the Warriors. I do enjoy watching the Warriors play. I think that when Klay Thompson came back here, I said, "Oh, these guys are gonna get to at least the conference finals, maybe even the finals." And here we are. Dynasty's still going, and I mean, Kayvon Looney, great story. Now he's playing almost 30 minutes a game after showing up in playoffs against Memphis. By the way, shout out to the Grizzlies. No, we really didn't really talk about them. Great team. Going to be back next year. I actually think they're the second best team in the West now after going through seeing Dallas and all that. See what they do next year. But anyways, Jordan Poole, Kuminga, Moody, he barely plays, but so with Kuminga, but I mean, both great young guys. Wiseman's coming back. I don't know. The Warriors are going to be around for a while. If Klay stays healthy, he's only 30. Draymond Green is still Draymond Green, as much as people do not like that guy. Still gets the job done. Still a great passer. Gets the job done on defense. As loud as he wants to be. And I mean, Steph Curry, I mean, changed the game. Great shooter. Just phenomenal. Best shooter ever. And just the things he does for that team, especially in this series against Dallas last night, I mean, it's wild. I don't really see anyone getting in their way this year. Legacy-wise, another big check mark for Curry, so I think a lot of motivation there. And I just think that with the way the NBA has worked this year and how wide open it is, it's kind of ironic that it's going to be the Warriors, but at the end of the day, it was almost like it was written to be this way. Ironic and strange way, but yeah, again, shout out to the Grizzlies. Congrats Dallas on a great year. Kind of got to see what they're going to do with cap issues they have and Brunson. But Golden State is just, they're here. And they're here to stay, and they're building the dynasty on and on. I mean, crazy stat, Klay's 6 finals in a row for Klay Thompson when he's healthy and plays. It's wild. Andrew Wiggins, you're a menace, by the way.
Alrighty, and then yeah, that Andrew Wiggins dunk was absolutely disgusting. But personally, I'm not a fan of the whole offensive fouls on posters, but that's a whole nother topic. Transitioning into the Eastern Conference Finals with the Heat Celtics. Celtics have looked really good all postseason long. I personally have them coming out of the Eastern Conference Finals. I think I had them in 7, I believe. The first 2 games of this series has been a little wonky in terms of play with the Celtics and the Heat. But I watched Game 3 in Boston, which was a very interesting game to watch. A lot of injuries happening. Jimmy Butler was ruled out for the second half. Tatum got hurt. Marcus Smart got hurt. Obviously without Robert Williams as well. It's been an interesting series. The Celtics were just not playing their best basketball that whole game. believe they had like 24 turnovers or something like that. It was just very bad offense for the Celtics, but yet they were still in the game. I believe they cut it down to 6 or 9 at some point. But I want to shout out Victor Oladipo, who was absolutely dogging on defense. He was taking on Jaylen Brown. He stripped him a couple times. I believe he had 4 steals all game. Obviously, he has a lot to prove. A bunch of injuries and stuff on a minimum. Hopefully to get some kind of payday, I guess. At least make more than the minimum. Get like a mid-level or something. But it's very good to see Victor Oladipo playing. Obviously, he was kind of in and out of the rotation in the first 2 rounds, but now seeing some run in the Eastern Conference Finals, playing really good defense. Big Victor Oladipo guy. Love to see him succeed. Injuries have just been very unlucky and very freak accidents, but I'm glad to see him out there playing. Jimmy Butler has obviously been great all postseason long. He's still proving it now. This series can go either way. I wouldn't be mad with the outcome. I still like both teams. Obviously, I'm a Laker fan, but the Heat are obviously still a really good team. Same with the Celtics. It's going to be a dogfight. I feel like Game 4 is going to be really back and forth. Tyler Hero's out that game, though. So it'll be interesting to see who steps up. Maybe Victor Oladipo gets some more run as well. But, yeah, the series has been interesting to watch. A little lopsided at some points, but I still think this series can go 6 or 7. If I were to still make a prediction, I'd probably take the Celtics in 7. I feel like they'll find the pieces and piece it all together. Obviously, coming off a pretty bad game 3 in terms of play, but yeah, the Celtics, they're gonna be a really good team, hoping to make the finals, which would be a sight to see. Hasn't happened in a fat minute, but yeah, that's kind of just my takes on the Eastern Conference Finals so far.
Yeah, just before anything else, just Oladipo, just want to say real quick, very happy to see him doing good. Like Matt mentioned, I mean, this guy has gone through so many injuries. I mean, it just sucks. The Pacers, he was playing really good, and then gets hurt, and now he's healthy again finally, and just great to see him playing some good defense out there. It's just an overall good story for the league. But kind of going into the series, I mean, this just backs up when people say that basketball is a game of runs, dude. I feel like you watch the series and like each team has their turn of like an absurd run. I mean, this is besides game 1. I feel like this series has kind of been back and forth. I personally think that the Heat are gonna make it out. That's kind of who I'm rooting for. Not just because I'm a Laker fan and he's Celtics. I truly want to see Jimmy succeed. He's been one of the better personalities to like in the league. Some people, so definitely would like to see him succeed. Game 3, like Matt said, injuries all over. Shout out to the Celtics, training staff for giving whatever they gave to Smart and Tatum to get him back out there. But this is definitely, I feel like, goes the distance. It's kind of giving that vibe of a series that definitely can go all the way. I do want the Heat to win, but I am kind of rooting for the Celtics to win Game 4 just because I want it to be as close as possible. But the Heat are looking good. Sucks that Hero's out, but I'm just hoping to see that we can get 7 games, and then if they eventually go play the Warriors, that will definitely be a series. I think those teams kind of match up well on each other. Also, shout out to Bam, playing really well as well. Can't forget to mention him. But like we've said throughout the postseason, the Celtics, I mean, they've been playing really good basketball. Once again, just Tatum has been really good this postseason. Marcus Smart has been really good always on the defensive end. just hopefully that both teams can kind of get healthy, so we can really see both of them at their full strength. But overall, it's just two really good defensive teams going at it, and this is kind of the result. So hopefully we get some good games coming out of them. Sucks that the Western Conference kind of panned out like it did, but at least we're getting a good Eastern Conference Finals because I mean these two teams, you can tell that both these teams really want it, and they really want to go to that finals games. So yeah, let's just Celtics win Game 4 so we can have really close series.
I mean, this Boston Celtics story, it's crazy. I mean, as a Laker fan, of course, you have the bias. You don't want Boston to win, but took out Brooklyn and made Kevin Durant just wow. I've never seen any team make Kevin Durant look like that. I mean, It was astonishing. Then they come out, they beat the defending champs. You could shout out Milwaukee. I mean, did the best they could without Chris Middleton. I mean, Giannis was superb, of course. Unfortunately, in the last game, just other guys just didn't show up. But it happens. A great season to the Bucks. But I mean, the story of Boston. You got Al Horford coming back. Love Al Horford. Really, really enjoy watching that guy play. Great guy. He comes back, has a great year. Grant Williams, great player as well. Underrated. Came out, beat the Bucks. He took like 23s that game. I mean, 18. Jeez, man. Defense player of the year, Marcus Smart, first to do it since Gary Payton. Wild. I mean, Jaylen Brown's on the come up still. I mean, he's still underrated in my opinion. And then Tatum. And all the other guys, I mean, Pritchard, I mean, they have their team it's great. It's fun to watch. But I do think that after watching the last few games, Game 4 is going to be the biggest game, tonight's game. Miami not having Hero. Boston, I think, will take this one. And then you go to Game 5, and it's a question of, hey, Miami's at home. Miami still has home court advantage. Will Hero play? I mean, you look at the Heat's injury report, you got 9 people every night questionable. I mean, oh my goodness. Do I think that it's a given Boston wins tonight? No. But you have Jimmy Butler, Bam. I mean, Miami's story is great too with the Strus. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Great player. PJ Tucker. I mean, he's still doing his thing as much as that guy rubs me the wrong way as a Laker fan, of course. But he's a great player. I just think that I'm gonna go with Miami winning this series in 7. I also think that whichever one of these teams gets the Warriors in the final, the Warriors will be on extra rest, assuming a sweep, so that needs to be taken into account as well. But it's going to be a great barn burner of a series to see what happens. I'll take the Heat in 7, coin toss. But both these team stories are great. I think both of these teams could be around for a while if Jimmy Butler keeps up doing his thing, and Boston, is back next year. Also, shout out to Boston's coach. Yeah. Forget about and the tour trailer for 11th.
Okay, and then now transitioning into some Lakers talk. Woo, Lakers. Obviously, Mr. Frank Vogel, rest in peace, got fired right as the buzzer sounded in Denver, which honestly was very sad, even though I knew it was coming. Just very poor timing, and obviously fits the Lakers organization. We think the Lakers are heading in the right way, front office wise, and then a story like that leaks without the front office actually telling Frank that he's done. Just hears it from a tweet, which is very unfortunate for a guy who brought us a championship, bubble or not. It's still a championship at the end of the day. And that left a pretty big hole in hopes of a coaching search. Obviously, the finalists have been announced. Terry Stotts, former Portland coach. And then Darvin Ham, the assistant for the Milwaukee Bucks. And then Kenny Atkinson, former Nets coach and Warriors assistant at this moment.
Rivers.
No, Doc. Obviously, it was kind of rumored that like Nick Nurse, which obviously would have been a dream to have him be the coach, but Toronto was not going to let that happen. And then Doc, which thank God Philly's retaining him because I do not want to entertain that discussion. But yeah, it's very interesting offseason, obviously, for the Lakers, who had, in my opinion, probably the worst season in Lakers history, just with the magnitude of a big three. Obviously, we all know how that went, and a bunch of old geezers surrounding them, which didn't really contribute much to the team. Kind of my take on the whole coaching search. I don't think it's going to be Terry Stotts, and I pray to God it's not Terry Stotts because obviously we see what he's done with Portland. That Portland team did not play a lick of defense, and that is the last thing we need. Because I want a good defensive team. That's what Frank brought. Obviously, this year was kind of a wash because of the horrible roster construction. But obviously with Frank there, we had top defense both years, the bubble and the year after. But yeah, Terry Stotts definitely my last pick in terms of the final three. My prediction is probably going to be Darvin Ham. The Lakers have a tendency of picking guys that have Laker connections, which obviously isn't always the greatest thing. But Darvin Ham, I feel like, don't know a whole lot about him and his coaching philosophies. But coming from Budenholzer, I assume he's probably going to be a good defensive guy. Offense will probably be a little questionable, but it all just depends on who we put on the roster this summer. But yeah, it's a very interesting coaching search. Obviously, Frank Vogel. We've had our fair share of slander. We had a Frank meter at one point where we ranked his offenses in terms of being fired. But yeah. Also, sidebar. Genie Bus. You talk the talk of making the hard decisions, and I pray to God you make the hard decision of trading Westbrook and finding somewhere to get him off. I don't care what it takes. I need him off the team. It was rumored that one of the questions they're asking in interviews for the coaching job is, how do you think Westbrook is going to fit in the offense? And that is something that makes me very scared, and I do not want him on my team anymore. It's just not a good recipe. But oh god, this summer is going to be very interesting. Right when it starts, we pray the good decisions get made. It all starts with a good coach, which I praise Darvin Ham. Wouldn't be mad with Kenny Atkinson either. He's a good defensive coach as well. It's not Terry Stotts, please, for the love of God, not Terry Stotts.
So, just to make sure this is known, I pray to any Lord up above, do not hire Terry Stotts. I don't care what, like if that news breaks, it's just disappointment everywhere. Personally, I don't know too much about Darvin Ham. Same with Kenny Atkinson. I don't know that much. Shame on me, I guess. But if what Matt said is true about that rumor about the Westbrook question, I think that's a very fair question to ask incoming coaches because they need to know what they're working with. And also, just rest in peace, Frank. I feel so bad for the old geezer of a team that he was handed this past season. I mean, just this past season, like, it was just, I was honestly like, I got more entertainment watching us win like 18 games with like D'Angelo and Julius. That team was Roy Hibbert. Those teams are much more fun than watching, the retirement home out there running around trying to keep up with these young teams. I mean, just this coaching search. I mean, I hope we make the right move. I'm not too familiar with these other two candidates as much as Terry Stotts, obviously, but just hopefully we just make the right move. That's all I can really say about it. I just obviously I know the right move is not Terry Stotts, so just want to reaffirm that one more time that we do not want Terry Stotts. But no, I just hopefully that this new coach can, if we keep, pray to God we don't have Westbrook going into next season, but if we do, hope this new coach can, get him thinking straight again. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought in this head coach search.
All right, guys. I have been looking forward to this moment. You guys have talked about the Lakers for a while. It's my first time here, so I'm just gonna kind of say what's on my mind and see where it goes. I'll start with the coaching thing. Frank, I did a little scale 1 to 100% on blame. I'm gonna give 50% to the front office. That includes Jeannie Buss. Get into Jeannie Buss in a bit. Give 25% to Vogel, 15% to Anthony Davis, and the rest to I can't even give anything to LeBron. Give the rest to Westbrook. Anthony Davis couldn't stay healthy. And again, I said I'd start with the coaching search. Here we go. Couldn't stay healthy. Can't stay healthy. Doesn't take care of his body. Oh my goodness, Anthony Davis. Please, for the love of God, just eat a salad. Stay healthy. Go on a run. Get in the weight room. It's not complicated, man. LeBron, you did your thing. I'm proud of you, man. I don't know why you wanted Team Geezers, but you got what you asked for. You got Melo not playing defense. I mean, I actually want to bring him back for some reason off the bench. Don't know why. But, I mean, and then Westbrook. Okay, Westbrook. When I have to go on Twitter and see 5 minutes of you hitting the top of the backboard, and I'm looking at you, Westbrook, if you ever watch this in the camera, trying to bank a midi, and then I have to watch 5 minutes of you missing layups back to back. Oh man, where'd you go? What happened? You're still in shape, but it's not my fault. I mean, it's never Westbrook's fault, right? Never, ever Westbrook's fault. Can't take the blame. You can't do anything, man. Just help's on the way. That's the thing going around right now. We gotta find a way to get rid of this guy. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt in my mind. Great player, but dude, get out. Don't come back. Don't come back. Gordon Hayward seems nicer than you, and that's given me heart problems. Every single game I watched this year, all the way up to us losing on a LeBron airball to the Pelicans, was a heart attack. Everyone. It was not worth it. The only games worth watching were when LeBron would front run and put 50 up. Gonna pass Kareem. Congratulations, LeBron. Proud of you. Wow. I mean, what a disappointing team. I don't know where we go next year. We have no cap. Horton, here's a who. He's just sitting there taking $15 million up. Oh, but he dropped 40 against the Thunder or something when everyone was hurt. Good for you. Good for you, man. Do that more. AR-15, Austin Reeves, I like you. You can come back. Malik Monk, I hope you come back. We don't have money, but hope you come back, man. Coaching search-wise, Atkinson, I know he had a great little tenure. Those last few years he was with the Nets before KD requested a coach that he could control, and Steve Nash. So he's not a bad candidate. Ham, don't know much about you, man, but just know you're coming into a whole world of pain, and I wish you the best of luck because they ain't gonna let you do nothing, man. Laker connections, Jeannie. You do not know how to run this team. I mean, Rob, I don't know what you're doing. I thought you had a great offseason, then you do this. Hopefully you can bounce back. But the amount of family connections and little things that are in this Lakers organization, that this front office is just a burning piece of junk. I mean, how can you run such a crapshoot of a team? Oh my goodness, you're just burning us to the ground every year. No cap space, overcharge everything. But we're the Lakers, right? Showtime. It's not Showtime anymore. Magic's not here. He said, I'm out. There's a reason he said, I'm out. Jeannie, I don't know why you're talking to Phil. Phil's been off the bonkers since he started with the Knicks. What's he gonna do? He doesn't even like LeBron. Oh, and Rob's having secret meetings now with Nets GMs. LeBron's going to the Nets, guys. And what are we gonna get? And what did I say? The 30th pick for the next 5 years, and Cam Thomas and Bruce Brown, Ben Simmons too, guys. Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook, dream team. If Russ isn't gone, I don't know how I'm gonna watch the season next year. I already know AD's playing less than 40 games. Yeah, the Lakers are just. If we somehow pull out next year, I will retract this whole Genie Bus thing. If not, sell the team. Very simple. We'll start fresh. LeBron, go play with Bronny and the Thunder and all 18 of their draft picks. Have fun. AD, you could sit here and take our money and play 40 games a year. Future is Austin Reeves. Future is Austin Reeves.
Man, oh man, that was a nice spirited talk right there from Mr. Brody Chouinard right there. But yeah, piggybacking off the whole secret meetings thing, which made zero sense to me. I highly doubt Rob is debating trading LeBron to the Nets out of all teams, which is very. I think it's just all made up in essence. But yeah, big off season. Jeannie Buss says she's gonna make the hard decisions. Let's see it. Let's see what you do this off season. Don't let Phil hold your hand and make the decisions for you. This geezer is still in the Chicago Bulls era where he thinks, oh, Westbrook's a great player and he wants to build around Westbrook. That is not what we need. That is definitely not what we need. Don't listen to Phil. Trust the people who are actually paid for their jobs and who are in the day-to-day. Just don't listen to Phil. Saw what he did with the Knicks. That was just a great, great example of Phil Jackson in the front office. And we just simply do not need that. And that's kind of just my recap on it. And I think that'll about do it for this episode. Daniel has a word.
Jeannie. It's me and you. Just look straight. Just look at me. Okay? Just sell the team. Imagine how much money you could get if you sell the team. You could live in Cancun all your life. You could do whatever you want. You could still
hang out with Phil.
Even though you guys are broken up.
You could have discussions with Phil all of your life. You could still sit courtside. You could still do all these things. Just give it to someone who just
half a brain.
That right there. Just think about the pain that you're causing us poor Laker fans. Year in and year out. It is just we build around Westbrook. I don't know how much longer I can do it. Okay? One more thing. It's all coming out.
One more thing. This is a message to Kurt Rambis now and Linda Rambis. I don't know why you think you should be friends with Jeannie. I don't know what power you guys have over our organization. I don't believe in mind control. But if it is real, go away. You two need to go away. Jeannie, I mean, I don't know what sort of control they have. I don't know what their power is, but yeah, you could do so much better, Jeannie. You could. I mean, life is in front of you. Just go live it. Away from the Lakers. I mean, when I heard crypto.com. I mean, that's where we are, Jeannie. Crypto.com currency arena. Wow. From Staples Center. Great. Historic name. Staples Center. Very simple. To crypto arena. Wow. Yeah. LeBron, I wish you the best of luck next year. Hope your body holds up. I hope Westbrook isn't here. Oh, I know. I don't know who's gonna be on this roster next year. Fully expecting to see Melo, Dwight Howard. Maybe we'll trade. Hey, you know what? Let's trade for Chris Paul. LeBron's friends.
It didn't happen years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe now.
Who knows where we'd be now? You guys are just a hunk of junk. It's just this. This is my message to you, to the Laker fans of the world, to the Lakers. Do better. We all know you can. We all have high expectations. We always will. I mean, we're the Lakers. You see what Boston's doing? What if Boston gets to the finals? What if Boston wins? We're one behind. What are we gonna do about it?
That's great. Yeah, that was a nice little hoorah raw speech that we have going on. But yeah, that was our nice little Lakers ramble that we had going on, and I think that'll about do it for this first installment of in-person basketball maestros. Look at that, history's being made here today. Shout out to Brody for being the first in-person guest. Round of applause to him. And yeah, that'll about do it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Make sure to give a like, subscribe, comment, follow us on all our socials, the Basketball Maestros. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Take care.